Hey everybody, welcome to West Coast Massholes. I'm Todd Anderson.
And I'm Josh Wingate.
How you doing, Josh?
I'm not okay, man.
No,
I'm not okay.
I kind of had a feeling that we were gonna start with those very words today. Uh,
Yeah,
you want to talk about it,
yeah.
or do you want to avoid it and just do our dumb segments?
Yeah, that just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel right to do some stupid segments right now. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. I mean, I'm laughing out of nervousness because of real emotion. I've just been really emotional, you know, and it's just hard. And I'm not, just I think I'm ingesting too much of the social media and feeling what's going on around. Not saying that I should avoid it completely, but yeah, it's hard to be an empathetic and sensitive person and ingest a lot of that.
Uh, yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. I feel the same way.
Hmm.
I looked at my social media feeds this morning, and I had like as many thoughts and feelings as I have. I realized I had fucking nothing to say to add to
Hmm.
any discourse that's going on. Um,
No.
I find my own friends in certain instances completely depressing, because they're saying things that don't make sense to me, uh, and
Hmm.
and other people who are rightfully angry. I agree with them, and but outside of posting Black Lives Matter, like what
Hmm.
what can I say about any of this? I just
No. Yeah, I find myself becoming very angry at blatant things and angry at myself because I don't feel like historically I've spoken my truth, you know, and
mhm,
or maybe stood up for people, when I could have. And, you know, the people I look up to the most are the truth sayers, people who speak the truth and put themselves on the line for that truth. And I got one story that I think is appropriate. Um, one year of my life, seventh grade, I was just, I guess, what's that, like 13, 11, 12 or 13 years old. Probably the worst year of my life. I was bullied every day by this group of eighth graders. Like really traumatizing stuff, physical attacks, bloody noses were common. This was before call waiting and caller identification. Every day, phone calls threatening my life, and I never fought back. I was too scared to ever
mhm,
fight back, and I never had anybody tell me how to, or just kick this kid in the nuts in front of everybody. Like stand up for yourself.
mhm,
Um, my sweet mother just kept trying to look out for her sons. Just try to tell me how always to walk away. Be the bigger person. But in her defense, I don't think she knew the truth of it because I didn't really talk about it because it was so shameful. And the point of this, I'll fast forward, is um, I held that stuff in for a very long time. I mean, I still think it's a part of my existence, like the resentment and regret from that time and the pain from that one year of my life.
mhm.
One.
When you were a kid, when you were a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. 11, 13 years old. So anyways, I mean, I ended up becoming extremely violent one day, and I came into contact with this bully, the guy who was the ringleader. It was 11 years later, mind you. So I'm young 20s now.
Uh-huh.
And I decided today was going to be the day that I stood up for myself that I should have done 11 years before. And I was extremely violent, and I put him in the hospital and he had
Wow.
to get surgery and stuff. And gratefully, I'm not criminally charged, but it was. But I will. The whole point of me bringing this up is the rage and resentment and pain and trauma that I felt from one year of my life.
Mhm.
I'm a 43-year-old man this year, and I still feel some of that trauma. Now imagine every single fucking day of your life,
Yeah.
because of the color of your skin, you're feeling that.
Mhm.
what's my 1 year? I mean, and I feel a great pain from that. But imagine your entire life, 400 years of oppression, and like, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. You don't have to be sorry about that.
I'm just sorry I've never spoken up before,
Hmm.
and you know why? Because I was afraid of being bullied, afraid of speaking my truth, and all these people just not liking good old Josh. But you know what? Those people don't know the real me because I'm not speaking my truth.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to the people that I should have stood up for before. Black Lives Matter. I've uttered the words "All Lives Matter" in retort before many years ago, and I'm deeply sorry for that. I was wrong, and I'm openly admit that I was wrong. I do believe that all lives matter. I'm a humanist, but
Well,
in
yeah.
retort, in
Yeah.
retort to that statement, it was inappropriate, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% willing to admit that, and I invite people who have said that before to maybe look at the truth and maybe see how they were wrong, and open up and say sorry, because it's never too late to say sorry. It's never too late to better who you are as a person. It's never too late to stand up for what's right and support your fellow human being. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm deeply sorry for that, and for holding back. And I'm grateful for I guess the courage to just have the willingness to just say I was wrong, and just to join the side that I truly believe in, and speak up against these injustices, speak up
Yeah.
against the racism that is clearly prevalent. And you know that doesn't mean I dislike police. I have friends that are police, and
Yeah.
it's not a one or the other. I don't believe that, but I believe the dismissiveness of the very clear and evident examples such as George Floyd, and the countless number of people that the evidence is too clear. Like there is a dismissiveness to it
Hmm. Hmm.
when people are not being prosecuted for murder, because
Yeah. I mean, it's really not that things are any different than that they were before. It really isn't.
Mhm,
It's that we're filming it now. So we're
mhm,
seeing it, and it's certainly harder for privileged white people like myself
mhm,
to to ignore it anymore. Not that I was willfully
mhm,
ignoring anything growing up. I mean, my whole life has been, and it continues to be, a series of, oh, geez, I'm a fucking asshole. Why did I think that when I was, young?
mhm,
Why did I think that yesterday? Or why did I say that
mhm,
yesterday? Just like what you were saying, you know,
mhm,
the knee jerk reaction, all lives matter. I just, but I live in a town now that flies a lot of Blue Lives Matter flags. And,
mhm,
ever since I've been here, I've been super wary of that and those kind of people. And they're everywhere here, but they're clearly everywhere here. But obviously I believe that they're everywhere.
everywhere,
Uh,
everywhere. Yeah.
and I mean, maybe it's kind of helpful that they wear it on their sleeve here, because I can drive by a house and say, that's a house I'll stay away from. I'm not going.
Mhm,
I won't be socializing with anyone who flies a Betsy Ross flag,
mhm,
or certainly not a Confederate flag, or or a Blue Lives Matter flag. I find all of those things to be racist and fascist and kind of horrible. And I
mhm,
and like I was stupid when I was a kid. I'm not saying these people who are flying these kinds of flags are necessarily even aggressively, like pure Nazis. Maybe they're just
mhm,
fucking ignorant. But it's really amazing that everybody hasn't woken up for this. It's amazing that we're going through this shit again. um, and it takes it takes fucking violence to wake up the
Mhm.
masses. I mean, it's fucking, and and I've seen people saying, condemning the violence, at the same time as you know, trying to honor the death of Floyd and talk about the cops need to
Mhm.
be prosecuted and all that, but no violence. And I'm like, I don't, I'm not, I cannot say that. I can't
Mhm.
even, I mean, I know that there's white people and white supremacists involving themselves in these things and helping to escalate the violence, which is even
Mhm.
more horrifying to me. So like, if I'm like, then I feel like I got to start delineating things. Like, if you're a white person fucking causing violence, fucking stop it. But I can't, like, the violence and the protests turning into riots at this point is not, I
Mhm.
just, to me, it's like, I don't know what else can be done. I mean, and it's fucked up to me too, because like the very fact that before this happened, in the weeks before this happened, I was complaining about all the idiot protesters protesting reopening things,
Mhm.
while like most certainly spreading the virus. But now, these new protests, which are, I think, right, and then they're escalating into violence because we are a racist country and the cops are taking the cop side and the governments are taking the cop side.
Mhm.
And remember, the violent act that set this off was a white cop killing a black man. So violence does beget violence, but that's where it started. That's where it started. Any further escalations, it's all on that white cop in the racist system that backs him up and makes him a thing. Um, and,
Mhm.
and like you, I have friends and relatives who are police officers, and I talk to them, and I know they're cool. But the problem with the just general police force, this across this country, is it attracts the wrong kind of person. It attracts white supremacists, and that's got to change. They've got to be vetted out of the
Mhm.
system. But it's just like, I feel like we keep going in these cycles, and hopefully this is the one. Hopefully this is the one that really fucking changes shit. But given who's
Mhm.
in our highest office right now, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe this really is the beginning of another civil war. I don't know. And it's
Mhm.
really not for me to say, and it's certainly not for me to judge. Uh, I'm behind these protesters, but at the same time, I feel horrible for them because, what if they get sick? What if they survive the
Mhm.
violence and then only to get sick? I mean, it's
Yeah.
a fucking nightmare. It's a fucking unbelievable nightmare.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
keep I keep hoping that, like, I'm just caught in some kind of personal Jacob's ladder scenario, and I'm really just about to die, and this is all just
Mhm.
happening in my head. And when I'm
Mhm.
dead, we'll all not real. Uh,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know, this whole. I mean, I thought things were going fast once Trump won the election, as far as how blatantly horrible this country really is. And and don't at me about that. Don't yell at me about patriotism or whatever. I,
No, it's okay.
you know,
I'm just we've
I,
got sounds like military grade helicopters outside.
oh really?
Yeah. That was not a regular police copter. That was the low rumble of a military.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on a Zoom
Yeah.
meeting with some of my old friends over the weekend, and the ones who were in LA. It was weird how there were so many sirens, and they kept
Mhm.
having to stop and check things out. And it's just it's fucking horrible. It really is.
Mhm.
I know exactly how you feel, and I feel the same way. I just feel beaten up, and and also I feel like I should be taken to the streets, but at the same time, and like, and that would matter here, a lot. And I know there was an organized protest in Simi Valley over the weekend, uh, uh,
Mhm.
about cop violence, and but I didn't go because Simi Valley is the highest rate of COVID cases in Ventura
Mm-hmm.
County, and when I bike around this place, I see people, like gathering in social gatherings in parks with no masks. I see them letting their children play on, playgrounds with caution tape around them, just ignoring, uh, the ordinances that have been put in place. And I'm like, does it make sense to go and out and get sick or potentially sick and put my family at risk? I have high risk. My mother-in-law is high risk. So the whole thing is, it's just wildly frustrating, and depressing. It's just really depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I actually posted something on Facebook, similar, and Twitter, similar to what you were just saying about having those feelings and having been bullied systematically as I was when I was a kid. Oh, that's the end of our thing. When I was a kid, but and that feeling of, if the only way out of it for me, it wasn't a revenge thing. It was just like, after 2 years of constantly being bullied on a daily basis, I finally lost it and started throwing punches, like not good punches, ineffective punches. I was a skinny little kid, but it was just that I was screaming and throwing fists around, that they all started backing off. And then a couple of people who never helped me before suddenly went, yeah, fuck off, leave them alone. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, and part of me was like, maybe I shouldn't post this because it sounds so stupid when in comparison to what what started in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds petty, but just that's the empathy I feel. I mean, if they were still doing that, if they had never stopped, uh, I would fucking burn shit down. I absolutely would. I absolutely would. I would fucking burn shit down, because to be tortured like that and to live in that kind of fear all the time, and just like the level of dread that I would feel, at the end of lunch period before the next class period would start, that's where they would generally get me. And just living in that terror. So like, a cop pulls you over and living in like that terror times 1,000, because the bullies were about humiliating me and beating me up, but they wouldn't have killed me, I don't think. One of them might have, I don't know, but the point is like, I mean, one, I can't imagine living your life where you're just absolutely there. I mean, when I see cops, I always assume I'm doing something wrong. So, and they don't give a shit about me. So to live with that kind of terror, I don't know. It just sounds fucking horrible. So yeah, of course you would fucking burn shit down. And I know, and I know there's, like I said, I know there's evil people who are getting into this, foreign entities and white supremacists and whatever, to try and make it bigger and worse. And that's just really fucked up. And some of those people are like looters, but I'm not judging fucking looters right now. I mean, we just, the government spent trillions bailing out corporations while like handing out $1,200 to adults, and there's a lot of fucking people that are unemployed, have no fucking money, and oh my god, here's a fucking chance to get some goddamn food. I can't, I can't judge that. I can't.
Yeah. It's easy to do. It's easy to do from behind a screen and, in your comfortable home,
Yeah.
Yeah, with your newly manicured nails. It's really easy to judge. And so I appreciate you, and having the courage, because I think that's the uncommon voice right now. And I just watched this video with David, David Goggins, who's a Navy SEAL. Do you know who he is, David Goggins?
I'm not. I've heard the name, but I'm not 100%.
Okay. Pretty out there guy, but just amazing human being. And I forget what I was just about to say, but he he put the responsibility on the white people to make the change, and he's a black man, and not in a negative way, in a empowering way. Like, it's a really good video to watch. He posted on his Instagram, so I highly recommend checking that out. And just get a different perspective on, for people. I think you already have this perspective. I'm not saying, I say, if we get any fucking viewers on this thing, for those people, open the lens, man. Open the lens.
Yeah.
Open the fucking lens. See that you might not be right. And you know what? You're friggin' forgiven. This is how we make change. By making change in ourselves and then opening our eyes to see the picture, listen. Listen, you don't know the experience. If you're a white person, you do not know the experience. You do not know the experience of living as a black person in the United States. You do not know it. You can try to understand it and try to intellectualize it, but you do not know it. You do not know it. Listen. Open the ears. Open your eyes. Listen. And then, go to bed at night.
Yeah.
What's going on in your head? You're with you. You make your own decisions. But I'm just not going to be silent anymore. And sorry for my silence before. I was afraid, and my fear is nothing compared to what's happening. So fuck it. Bring the noise. I don't care.
Yeah.
I gotta follow what my heart says, and my heart wants to help people. And and I don't like injustice.
Yeah.
It angers me. I find that just wrong. And so I don't know. I'm open. I'm listening. I'm looking for ways to help. I'm trying. If anybody sees something that I can do, I'm open. I'm gonna take the same advice I gave to myself. Open my ears.
Yeah.
Look,
that's it. That's it. That's what I'm trying to do right now, is just shut up and listen. And if there's a way I know that I can help, then I will. But maybe the best thing we can all do, dumb white people, is to shut up and listen. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably not so dumb. I think that's the intelligent and right thing to do, of a higher consciousness, and
yeah. Well, Josh, maybe we should shut this up and go back to listening. But thanks for talking. It's good to see you, and it's good to hear you say those things. It's good to know.
Thank you, man. Thanks for giving me the space to do so, and the opportunity to kind of be a little less fearful and a little bit more courageous. Just open my face and try to say the right thing. And I know I'm going to be wrong. I'm sure I'm just going to try to say the right thing and do the right thing.
Right.
So thank you. Thanks for giving the space and for being who you are.
I'm glad you're
hopefully,
Thanks, man. All right. Well, we're not going to do our dumb sign off this time.
No.
That's to have fun. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, it's okay.
Bye. Thanks for watching West Coast Massholes.
This has been a Blursh production. Blur.